Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today friends, we'll be making this pair of baggy shorts that has two side pockets and an elastic waistband with a drawstring. It's really easy and really fast to make. Without wasting time, let's get right into it. So here's the fabric we'll be working with. It's a little above 1 yard. What I have here is 1 yard and 9 extra inches. Then I have my elastic, which is 1 inch wide. Okay, it's really important to take note of the width of your elastic. Then of course you'll be needing the rest of your sewing supplies like your tape, scissors, ruler and chalk. So the first thing I did was to fold my fabric in half lengthwise, and then I divided it I divided that into two. So the width here on fold is around 22.5 inches. You need to make sure you have extra fabric for the allowance. So here I've divided it into half. So this is one half that I'll be using to cut out the two front pieces. Now you need to make sure that one half is, like when you divide it into two, one should be bigger or rather longer than the other one. That will be the one you use to cut the two back pieces. All right, so this is the first one that we're going to work with, and we want to cut out the two front pieces. So I'll come down from the top here by 0.5 inches. This 0.5 inch at the top is going to be the sewing allowance. That's the part we're going to use to attach the elastic waistband to the top of the shorts. Now I'm going to go to this top and I'll place my tape at the 2-inch mark. The 2-inch mark, the 2-inch extra at the top is going to be for the elastic waistband. Now from there I'll come down to my hip line. So you place the tape 2-inch above your high waist and then pull it down to your hip line. So that is my hip line. Then I came down by 2 inches to mark my crotch depth. So that brings me to 14 inches. Now I'm going to mark this on this other side, and then I'll connect these points with a horizontal line across. So for all our horizontal measurements, we'll be placing our tape at the 2-inch mark there. All right, the next thing will be to put my round hip measurement divided by 4. Whatever I get, I'm going to add 2 extra inches to that. The 2 extra inches is for ease in order to achieve the baggy effect. You can make it bigger or smaller. It's just it depends on how big you want the shorts to be. So you mark that point. So here I'm just counting my 2 extra inches and I mark it. Okay, now this point here, I'm going to extend it to this waistline at the top. All right, now we're going to get our crotch extension. You do this by dividing your round hip measurement by 4. Whatever you get, you divide it by 4 again. So for me, my round hip divided by 4 is 11.5 inches. So I'll fold my tape twice, just like this, and here's what we have. I have 3 inches. So I'll mark it on this crotch depth line, and then I just thought to come back and extend my hip line mark. All right, so I'll just make a shallow curve to meet the crotch extension. Okay, then I came down, we're now going to take our short length. Remember to keep your tape 2 inches above the waistline, and then come down and mark your desired short length. And then we're going to add our seam allowance. I use 2 inches for my seam allowance. 1 inch, 1.5 is okay. So now we're going to extend those points with a straight line across. And then the next thing I did was to come back to this crotch depth, get the full length starting from this end. Okay, so I'm measuring from this end of the shorts to the crotch extension. Whatever you get, subtract 1 inch from that So for me, it was 17 inches, subtract 1, that's 16, and I'm going to mark it at the seam allowance, that's the hemming allowance. I did this because I didn't want the thigh area to be so wide, but if you don't mind, you can go ahead and extend the line straight down. Then I came back to this waistline and I went in by 1 inch. This is totally optional. I love to do it for my shorts. I feel like it gives it a little bit fitting. Now it's time to cut. So for this crotch area, I'm going to move away from the lines we marked by 0.5 inch. This ½ inch allowance is for the sewing. So I'll just cut, and then I'll come to this side here and cut out the 1 inch, and remember to open up because that's the folded side. So here we have two front pieces. Now we're going to cut the back pieces. I'll get the other folded fabric. Now you see why we said make sure you use a bigger fabric for the two back pieces. The reason is because you need more fabric on the side, at the top, and also at the hem side. So when I placed mine, because my fabric was really small, I had less fabric at the top. Okay, let me show you. Now the back piece is supposed to be bigger than the front piece, so at this top area here I like to have 2 extra inches, but for me what I have here is around 1 inch, and that's really small. You need around 1.5 or 2 inches. I use 2 inches. I feel it works better for me. Depending on how big you are, you can use 1.5 or 2. So what I'm going to do here is to reduce the hemming allowance of the front piece. Instead of 2 inches, I'm going to use 1 inch. So that means I'll pull down the two front pieces downward, just like this, and then I'm going to go back to the top and see what I have now. So when I came back to the top and measured, I now have 2 inches, and that's fine. The reason is because on the back, of course, you have your bum and you need more fabric to make up for that extra space. So I'll just simply add 2 inches all around this crotch area, starting from the top. So I'll just take that from the top all the way around the crotch area and straight down. Connect those points with my free hands just like this. Then I'll come back to the waistline and make a slant line across this way. Okay, and don't forget the sides. You need to do that 1 inch again, and now we can cut. So when we come to this hem area, remember we pull down the front pieces so it's unequal there. So I'll just trim off the extra fabric on the two front pieces. Then I can now cut everything that we marked. Okay, so after cutting again, remember to open up the fold here, and now we have 4 pieces of fabric, 2 big back pieces and 2 smaller front pieces. Now I'm going to come to this side area again, and I'll go down by 1 inch, and I'm going to notch this 1 inch mark, and this is going to be where we will attach the pockets from. I like to do this when the shorts are together so that everything is accurate. So give it a good notch, and that's it. Alright, so now it's time to sew. So this is how we're going to start sewing. I'll take the 2 front pieces, open it up, place them right sides facing each other like this, and we're going to do a stitch from that waistline and curve it around the crotch area this way. Don't forget, we're doing this with a ½ inch sewing allowance. So we'll repeat the same thing for the 2 back pieces. Open up right sides facing each other and join with a stitch from the waistline, curve around the crotch area using ½ inch sewing allowance. All right, so when you're done, here's what your work would look like. You can see our shorts are quickly coming together. Friends, I really love making shorts. They're so easy to put together. Now it's time to attach the pockets to the sides, and we're starting from the notch that we made 1 inch down the waistline. So I'll place the pocket pieces right side on top of the right side of the shorts, join with a straight stitch on the side, flip it over and do a top stitch on top of it. Now you're going to do this for all the 4 pocket pieces, and when you finish attaching, here are the shorts. Now the next thing we need to do is join the shorts on the sides. Align the sides correctly, start from the waistline and join with a stitch, go around the pockets, come back to the sides and finish off at the hem. Because the back piece is bigger, you'll notice the difference, so just pull them together correctly and do the same thing. Now after joining on the sides, the next thing will be to hem the shorts and join in the middle, that V area in the middle. So I didn't want my shorts to be much shorter than it already is, so what I did was I serged the hem first before I hemmed it, right? I weaved it first before I hemmed, and then I now joined it at the middle. If you don't want that, or you don't mind the shorts being really short, you fold it twice and hem. Okay, so guys, did you notice something? I now have a weaving machine of my own, so I didn't go out to do this. I just did it in the house and finished up. All right, okay, I just want to point out something here. After hemming it, when you need to join at the middle, that area that looks like a V, you need to be like adjust the shorts correctly, because the bigger back pieces is going to make it look funny a little, like a little bit tricky to do. But just adjust them, like align them correctly and do your thing. Okay, so here's what it looks like after we're done. Now the next thing will be to work on the almighty waistband. So to do this, the first thing is to get the full round waist measurement. I'll just start from one side of the shorts, use my tape to measure round the entire waist. You see that it's really big. Okay, so just take the tape all the way around, excuse me, and what I had was 53.5 inches. So I am going to cut out a long strip of fabric that will be this long with an extra 1 inch, and the width of my fabric is 3 inches. Right, now these 3 inches is because when I fold it in half like this is the way it's going to be attached. It now becomes 1.5 inches. And remember that our elastic is 1 inch wide. So that means when I place my elastic inside this casing, I will have an extra half an inch at the bottom. And this is going to be the sewing allowance, which is what I would use to join it to the waist of the shorts. So what I have here is 54.5 inches. This extra 1 inch, you're going to see why we need it. First thing to do to this waistband is to fold it in half. These are the 2 raw edges here, and this is where we'll join it. We're going to join with first sewing half an inch from the top down, skip half an inch for the opening, and then finish off with a straight stitch down. Okay, sew, skip and sew. All right, now when you finish doing this is what you should have. And I started from the extra 1 inch that we added. So the next thing is to give this a really good press. I'll come to that 1 inch area that we joined, open it up and give it a nice press. Now we're going to conceal these raw edges by folding it inwards like this. I ironed it again so that it's easy to sew. Repeat on both sides and sew it down with a straight stitch. Very straightforward. Alright. Now after sewing it down, this is what you should have. This is the wrong side, and flip it over to the right side. Here's what it looks like. And of course we still have our 1/2 inch opening for passing the elastic and the drawstring. Okay, so the next step would be to iron this down in half. So I'll just fold it over and iron round the entire length of this waistband. So friends, if you don't want to stress yourself, like, okay, it's not really stress, but if you don't want to bother with the whole process of this waistband, you can just go ahead and attach your elastic directly. I have a tutorial on that, how to make a pair of shorts without an elastic waistband. But if you're a beginner, I advise you to try this, challenge yourself and do something new. So after folding it, this is that area that has the small window. This is what it's going to look like. Now we can attach to our shorts. This is my shorts facing me with the right side on top, and this is the middle seam where we join the two front pieces. What I want to do is to take this my waistband and make sure that this center piece of the waistband where we have the opening, like the window to pass the elastic, is going to sit right in the same line with the middle, like the center seam that join the two front pieces. Do you understand? So I'll just spin it down, and please, when you're placing this waistband, make sure that you place it in a way that when you flip it over, that little window is going to be in the middle, right in the center. It should be aligned the same center seam. Okay, so remember, we're joining with our 1/2 inch sewing allowance. We have it on the waistband and we also have it on the main shorts. So we'll do a straight stitch round the entire shorts and come back to this point. While you're sewing, please make sure that you keep aligning the raw edges correctly, like place them right on top of each other and sew all the way around. Now, as you keep sewing, you get to a point where it looks like the entire shorts are tangled up with the waistband. Don't sweat, just take your time, move your work around correctly until you get it properly, and then place the edges right on top of each other and finish up your sewing. So you sew until you're done, and this is what you would have. Okay, now it's time to pass the elastic. For the length of my elastic, I subtracted around 3 to 4 inches from my round waist measurements. That's what I used to cut out the length of elastic that I used. But I noticed because of the width of the elastic, it's really stretchy. So when I finished passing it round, I noticed that it was still too big, so I still had to cut out extra 1 or 2 inches from that. So please find out what works for you. Place the elastic on top of each other like this and join with a straight stitch to finish up. So you just pull around the waist and do that until everything gets inside. Now it's time to do a top stitch on top of the waistband, one at the top and one at the bottom area. So I came down like 1/4 of an inch from the top, and for the lower part around 1/4 of an inch from the waistline. As you sew, please pull on both ends of the waistband. This ensures that the elastic stays stretchy inside the casing. So here I've quickly passed the drawstring, like the string that we're going to use as a drawstring, and this is what we have. So our shorts are ready, and You can see the side pockets, the hem, everything is nice and neat. And this is the final look, guys. This was really easy to make. I hope you're going to try this. Thank you so much for sticking around. If this is your first time, you are absolutely welcome. I hope you stick around. And if you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. Okay, I'm really excited about you guys. So friends, till next time, don't forget to turn on the notification so that each time I upload, we'll all be here to learn. So till next time, guys, like, share, subscribe, and bye.